Hi, my name is David Prescott, and I want to talk to you about nuclear energy. And I believe that nuclear power is a cleaner and more cost-effective energy source than fossil fuels. And my reason for that is because nuclear energy has a limited effect on the environment, and nuclear energy can be more cost-effective than fossil fuels. Nuclear reactors function on a steam turbine, so the only product from that is just steam, which is just water, and so nuclear reactors don't emit any harmful byproducts like sulfur or carbon as fossil fuels do, and as we know, fossil fuels contribute to global warming. So one of the ways that we could combat global warming would be to switch to nuclear power. There is a byproduct. There is a waste product with nuclear energy. It's radioactive, so it's a concern to people. But it is proven that nuclear waste can be safely stored. And in 2002, Congress okayed the storage of radioactive waste in the Ucaypa Mountains near Las Vegas, Nevada. And so, because it takes 10,000 years before this its uranium can be decays and is safe to handle. But with breakthroughs in technology and reprocessing, we can use different ways, like different types of reactors, to take this waste product and refine it even more. We can break it down into, so its decay rate is around 100 years, which is still considered a long-term a waste product, but it has been shown that it can be safely stored. And that's probably one of the main dangers of nuclear power is nuclear contamination. And one of the more popular cases is Chernobyl, a Russian reactor. One of the rods overheated, and there was some nuclear fallout. The actual fallout was actually 500 times greater than Hiroshima. So there are some danger safeties, but with the new technology and processes, we've made it safer to handle. When Chernobyl happened in I believe it was the 1960s. So and they were experimenting with their reactors. They were trying to push as much energy as they can get, and they overheated, and it was a mistake and caused that fallout. Nuclear energy as a cost-effective energy source. Bernard Cohen talks about in his book The Nuclear Energy Option. He says that with the current supply of uranium, nuclear energy is produced at 0.2 cents per kilowatt an hour, as fossil fuel electricity is converted at 5 cents a kilowatt an hour. So you can see how cost-effective nuclear energy could be. As compared to other renewable energy sources, and as Bernard Cohen states in his book, nuclear energy can be considered a renewable energy source because as far as uranium, there's at current the mining of uranium, there's about 40 years left. But seawater contains 3.3 parts per billion of uranium, and with specific reactors and the amount of seawater, you can classify uranium as a renewable energy source. So compared to other renewable energy sources, we have the technology now to start creating energy from uranium and these reactors, these fast-breed reactors, which they're used for reprocessing. The nuclear reactors that use uranium, an isotope of uranium called uranium-238, and it's more commonly found. The uranium that we use now is uranium-235, and it has to undergo a refining process. So we have the technology to start creating nuclear energy, clean nuclear energy now, but we still, for some reason, we're still stuck on fossil fuels. Another argument against nuclear energy is nuclear proliferation, which is basically the use of nuclear material for weapons. But but America has been kind of backing the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, and it's been signed by 189 countries, but with the exceptions of India, Israel, and Pakistan, which, as we know, are like volatile countries, and they've been pursuing nuclear weapons, as well as North Korea. So just to reiterate, nuclear energy, the effect on the environment is minimal. The byproduct that nuclear energy does create can be stored. We have the technology to store it safely. Instances with contamination and reactor failures are very, statistically they're very small. There's been a couple big ones, but not, there haven't been a lot of accidents. And it's, as we can use nuclear energy right now and pursue it in the future to where it's become towards a renewable energy source. And so, because right now, if you look at the statistics on solar energy or wind-powered energy, we're behind. We're behind on the technology to have the solar energy be an efficient energy source. And so that's why I believe that nuclear power is a cleaner and more cost-effective energy source than fossil fuels.
All right, David, you state a claim. It's a two-part claim, and then the two parts are also the structure of your argument, and so that's a little bit awkward. You want a singular claim and then preview the supporting points. It's largely assumed that there's controversy on this issue. I think that it's not hard to find some discussion about why it is that we don't use nuclear power more extensively, what the political issues are, what the economic issues are, but we don't get much of a discussion of that. Once you get into the speech, I don't think it's structured as clearly as it sounded like it was going to be at the beginning of the speech. It sounds more like it's a point-counterpoint sort of structure. Well, there's this issue, but here's the answer to that. There's this issue, there's this answer to that. And so from an oral presentation point of view, I think it needs a little bit more control on what the structures are going to be. On your evidence, there was only one clear citation of a source. You've got Bernard Cohen. It would be a good idea to give us a date on that citation, and also some information about Cohen's expertise. Otherwise, I heard a lot of your evidence being cited this way. It's proven, or it's been shown, but I don't know who proved it or where it was shown. That sounds largely like you are asserting that information. You mentioned Chernobyl. I don't think it exactly supports your point, and in fact, it's an example of one of those counterpoint things that you developed that I don't think you've got an effective answer to. The storage issue, you are a little bit more extensive about that. You do make reference to a piece of factual data about Congress having passed a law to authorize storage in a particular place. By the way, that's another place there would be some controversy, because even though it's authorized to be stored there, they're not doing it yet because people are fighting it and there are lawsuits and all that kind of thing. And that would be something that maybe you could bring up as an issue to show that there is, in fact, controversy on the subject. I wasn't quite clear on the uranium issue. It makes it sound like we're running short, but then you talk about maybe different kind of breeder reactors. We could have fast breeder reactors where, in essence, they reprocess as they burn their uranium, which we could then use again in its revised form. But I don't get any discussion of that. Are there fast breeder reactors that are in operation now? Are they successful in other places? Do they have the same safety standards that other reactors have? Or are they different in some way? There's not much of a discussion of that issue, and I think that that's a little bit problematic. You're easy to hear. You talk to the audience pretty well. But like I said, your structure is vague, so it's sometimes easy to get lost. You introduced the solar issue right at the end, and it's not really a part of your argument. I think probably you could have left that out and just stuck with your arguments about nukes being safe and effective. All right, thank you.